What is up, guys? So before we jump into this one, I will lead by saying I forgot to record the face cam for this one, so I guess this video is more of a podcast style. That's kind of what our content is anyway, so I guess you just don't get to look at me, but I guess you guys don't really care about that anyway, right? So with that being said, we'll jump into the video. What is good, homies? This is Chris from Small Hat Crew, joined today by Small Hat Nick.
Hello.
And Small Hat Brandon.
Hi.
Yes, hi indeed. Okay, so
Hello.
we have a leader that has been asked for a very, very, very long time. I think everybody pretty much predicted his abilities, like overall identity, right? But no one really hit the nail on the head as to how exactly he would do it. Yeah, so I gotta say, I do like how they went about doing it. I'm actually a big fan. So
Same.
with all of this being said, we will go ahead and jump into, actually, before we do jump into Blackbeard, if this is like your second or third video watching the channel and you're not subscribed already, consider subscribing. There's a reason you keep coming back, right? But okay, now we'll go ahead and jump into this. We have,
What if it's our first video?
well, they don't know yet. Look,
Yeah, give it a few videos.
if you like it, go ahead and drop that sub. But otherwise, you know, you'll have to wait till the end to find out if you like it or
Never
not.
watch us again.
And that's an order. All right. Martial D teach, Black Leader, 5 life, 5,000 power, special, 4 Emperors, Blackbeard Pirates. Your on-play abilities don't activate. Oh no, that's a pretty big negative. This leader must be ass. Activate main. You may trash 1 card from your hand until the end of your opponent's next turn. Your opponent's on-play abilities don't activate. So both you and the opponent are playing without on-play abilities for the most part.
Yep.
Initial thoughts, go for it.
So
Amazing.
I think he's
I
amazing
like
too.
it. I was gonna say I like it a lot. My biggest concerns at the moment, like we just saw the card, we don't know any cards out of the card pool, but is like Black has always had a problem keeping a hand.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be rough. I'm excited because we've seen one other we got a Blackbeard event in OP08 that I don't think makes sense. Maybe it'll make sense more when we get the characters.
Yeah.
But it's like it's a counter event, like mill the top card of your deck. If it's a set 6 cost or higher card, then your character gains 5k power during battle. And it is a Blackbeard event card, but no, I'm looking forward to see what cards this deck gets, because this is a huge deficit. It can't use Lucci, it can't use Rebecca, it can't use Sabo, it can't use Moria. Like, it's insane what he's giving up.
Yeah, but you gotta look at it the other way around also. While he can't use any of that, neither can the opponent. Except you've built your deck with that in mind, and your opponent just has to deal with it.
Right.
If you are
A decent player.
yeah, valid.
So imagine you just like, go for it, Brandon?
Well, my thoughts on the leader is that it's really good,
Yeah.
and it's a game changer. It puts a lot of decks in check that need it. So let's take, for example, Yellow. By the time they hit 8 Dawn, you have 7-drop Big Mom, 8-drop Katakuri, 9-drop Yamato, 10-drop Big Mom, 10-drop Ace, and there was literally nothing putting any of those cards in check. And one leader now says, I put every single one of those boss monsters in check.
Yeah.
So at a high level of play, if this leader sees play, which I don't see it not seeing play, and we haven't seen a single card for it yet,
Yeah.
it makes it, like, it changes the game so much so in, like, all the way in the deck building stage. Because now you have to build just knowing that this leader exists.
Yes. No, I completely agree.
Right, so if I'm playing Yellow and I have half of my deck, like right now, for example, Enel, let's take Enel for example, half of their deck is just big bodies with very good on-play abilities.
Yep.
If half of my deck is now vanillas with worse than vanilla stats, I'm just gonna lose the game.
Literally, I think like the only yellow character you play that you'll resolve an effect off of is like Kikunojo, and that's probably it.
Yeah.
Like everybody else is like this. He just eats yellow. Yellow literally can't do anything
And
in the
black.
face of a leader like this. And then and then I was gonna say, and then like Nick was talking about, with all the black cards that you give up, like all of that is Black's identity. So if you are ever on Blackbeard and you run into another black deck, they just lose all of their tools. All they have is like 4-cost Lucci if they play it, and nothing else. Like the entirety of Black is shut down. And it's one of those things too where it's like, you don't if your opponent is running like 8-drop geckos, right? This is probably the one time where it's a good thing Gecko was statted 8-9 rather than an 8-8 because he's a vanilla. He's gonna be a vanilla. He's gonna be a poorly statted vanilla with no counter. Literally, you turn so many cards in your opponent's hand into bricks. And then you can also, like, just, if you know a matchup well enough, and we don't know what the meta's gonna look like moving forward, right? So we don't know what, I guess, curves and stuff like that will look like moving forward. But, like, you have to imagine, if a leader like this existed right now, and you're playing into yellow, like, even before you get to the boss monster turn, like, just going into their third turn, you could drop a 4-cost body, use leader ability, and then know that they cannot Gadatsu you on the following turn. And then on the following turn, now you've probably taken a hit. Gadatsu's not even live anymore. You can't pop your 4-cost target because your life's too low. Or they can play Gadatsu, but you'd rather they play Gadatsu this turn anyway than an actual 7-cost body. So, like, there's just going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot, like, this character knowing matchups, this leader and knowing matchups, just knowing which turns to go into. Because I don't think you're pitching every single turn to negate abilities.
Absolutely
but you know
not, yeah.
Yeah, you know the powerful turns of the opposing leader. Like, if you were playing into, like, a Gecko Moria and they're going on their 9-Dawn turn, you pitch the card, and they just can't do anything. They can't even tempo Gecko. Like, they just have nothing. And then also, like, that entire leader, like, you have your leader ability. It doesn't cheat out anybody that does anything. Like, I don't know, this could potentially be a, This could be a vanilla renaissance where, you know, like, every deck maybe does run a vanilla or two, right? Like, I don't know, if Gecko was sing play, I could see myself running the Lola vanilla, you know, into a meta where this exists and stuff like that.
The way
I will say the biggest problem, I don't think this leader does a damn thing to red purple law. The deck doesn't have a single on play effect.
It has a few.
It does.
Like the Sachi Penguin and
Ein. Yeah.
What's it called? Reiju.
Yeah. Reiju's actually kind of big.
It has a few, but the problem is red purple law gets those out like even early game, and this leader for the most part you're not going to be doing his ability till about your opponent hits 8 Dawn in most matchups. Like the 8, 9, and 10 Dawn is when those boss monsters with the game changing on play abilities come out. So a lot of people looked at this and they're like, oh, it's bad because, you know, you're going to be pitching every turn. You're not going to pitch for the first 3 to 4 turns depending on your opponent's deck. Plus you're a 5 life leader, so you're gonna take the first 2, maybe even 3 life, have a good hand size going into those 8, 9, and 10 Dawn turns. And then, if you think about it, the worst this leader can build right now, just off of the cards that we have, is good blockers like Borsalino and vanillas with the 2k over stat line. So,
we also
and that's
have,
like worst case scenario.
And then also you gotta remember, like, Black Animal Kingdom started printing cards that aren't on play.
You have the 9-drop Kaido and the 7-drop Jack, which in this are really good. I know some people are talking about maybe running 10-drop Kuzan. Still think maybe it's a little bit too slow, but we'll see.
There is one thing I do want you to bring up. You were talking about something in the Discord that I actually thought was a very, very, like, good idea that I commented on, so you already know what I'm talking about. Good, but go ahead and bring that up. I think that's worth bringing up.
I actually do not recall. Can you
okay,
give me
so
a teaser?
Brandon had a little, he had a spark, you know, the candle, the light bulb.
The discard?
No, so it had to do with Blackbeard characters having on-play effects.
Oh yeah, a good way to leader lock cards to this leader without putting the leader lock text on it is making leaders with good stats or even when attacking abilities, but give them really negative characters. But give them really negative on-play effects that typically you would just not want to play.
Yeah.
But negating your own on-play effects can be a good thing. Take for example if the wording was slightly different with the 4-drop 7k that we saw in the Gecko deck, right?
Yeah.
It's not an on-play, I know that, but it has a prerequisite to be able to attack.
Yes.
Now, this leader might get something similar where it's a 4-drop 7k with a atrocious on-play effect. Cool, you just gave me a 4-drop 7k vanilla.
Yeah, I think,
cool.
like, because I feel like it'd be very, very easy to print, like, an effect like that, too. Like, something like, you know what you could do? You could actually do the whole, the VV Alabasta thing, where it's like, your leader loses 5,000 power.
Yep.
Because that right there, I think that would prevent a lot of leaders from playing certain characters and stuff like that. And also, it would be support for, like, if they ever print a black leader that can't attack. You know, moving forward, that's another leader that could take advantage of, like, Blackbeard's cards and stuff like that. But it makes it so that you could print good cards and they don't get splashed into every single black deck moving forward. I'm a very big fan of that.
Is a 10-drop 20k that says on play you lose the game. That's all I'm asking for.
Oh, that'd be so good. I love that.
But also what I really like about it is, one, I think it really shifts the meta. Of course, who knows what the meta is going to be? I mean, this is OPO9. But it opens the way for other decks that you now have to use to beat this, such as green. Green has a good time against this, but yellow has a terrible time. So I feel like it's going to make way for other decks to finally kind of squirm their way into the meta, depending on how much he sees play. But a lot of people are like, oh, it's going to be too slow because you're not using on play, you're using when attacking, and removal is a thing. A lot of removal is from on play abilities.
Yes. Yep, no, I completely agree. Like, every single removal ability in black outside of the new stuff that we just got with Animal Kingdom. It all does it. From the bad removal to the good removal. The only one I can think that doesn't is, like, 5-cost Garp, and that's probably it.
I was just thinking 5-cost Garp.
Yes, literally.
Which, honestly, this deck might make use of. Maybe a little bit too much discard. We'll see how the cards come out. I can't wait to see his cards. I really can't.
I can't either.
They're gonna be awesome.
My only concern with him is it does come back to the discard. It's like, I do hope they give him some way for recurring cards or something. Literally, give him anything. Give him a way to not just go terribly neg. Even if it was something like what?
I hope his, like, the Blackbeard Pirates get some effects that, like, trigger when discarded, like when trashed from your hand. I think that would be a cool way to introduce a mechanic.
I hope they don't do that. I feel like
nothing overpowered. But like, when this card is trashed from your hand, your leader gets 1,000 power till the end of your opponent's next turn.
Because I was gonna say, like, because I feel like that starts the slippery slope, and then, you know, we come back to running stuff like, I don't like you could run like a 6-cost Sakazuki, pitch a card, pop a character on the opponent's board, pump your leader off the discard effect, assuming that's what it does or something like that. So, you know. Because in Blackbeard, it's kind of, that'd be kind of whatever, but I do think there's probably potential for that to get very abused.
Yeah, but you got to think, we're dealing with, like, I mean, the competition is a deck that can revive a 4-drop active every single turn.
What I do think, right, it's worth mentioning. So I do like, some people have been talking about how, like, this could probably be hinting at the direction that Bandai's kind of moving with One Piece. So this is a leader that he's just outright trying to punish on play, right? So it looks like he's trying to slow the game down to some extent.
Absolutely.
And then you have to look at the leader that was revealed just before him in Premium Booster. A leader like Sanji. Sanji fucks this guy up, I think.
In theory, yeah, Sanji destroys Blackbeard.
Sanji just does not care. But also, that's another leader that's like, that's another leader where Bandai's trying to incentivize you to move away from on-play abilities. So I do hope they keep doing more of that moving forward, because that's what the game has kind of devolved into. You know, it's if you don't resolve your effect right now this turn, your cards just are not good. And Sanji and Blackbeard are two leaders that are kind of going against that status quo. So I don't know. I'm a very big fan of this card. I'm a very big fan of this card, and I hope he's good.
All right, how do we think we're going to do the alt arts this time? Are we going to go back to OPO1 manga? We're going to go to the black and white of OPO3? Are we going to get the cruise of OPO4? Are we going to get more like the OPO6 with the
you want a
face
facial?
shot, but it's more custom?
I would want the face shot with these 100%.
Bro, I want the OPO1, 2, 5 manga leaders for all the sets. It's just my favorite manga. They're my favorite leader alt art. But
so you prefer the manga over like the OPO8 and OPO6?
No.
I wanted to piggyback off of what you were saying, Chris.
Yeah.
With the on play. So because right now the way that the game is, if you're spending 8 to 10 Dawn on something, even 7 to 10 Dawn, and you're not getting instant value, you can't play that card.
Yeah.
It's like the 9-drop Zoro is on paper one of the best cards.
Yeah.
But you don't get that value instantly, so it's just, why are you playing that card?
It's funny too, because it's like, because it's such a strong ability that this leader just has in general. Because like,
yeah,
all the boss monsters, they are on plays and they lose their effect or whatever. But like, for the same reason that like Kaido Linlin, for example, has an insane effect, right? Or the Zoro, the Nine Call Zoro has an insane effect, but we don't think those are good cards, because
the Kaido and Linlin is a perfect example too.
Yes,
insane card, too slow,
and pretty much Blackbeard is doing quite literally. He's basically turning every boss monster into that. So if your boss monster doesn't have an effect you can do on the following turn, it's just a vanilla. It's just a body that just sits there and you never get anything out of it. And it sucks too because it's like, if you keep it in your hand, this has no counter. If you stick it to the board, it's just a vanilla, so you're never really gonna get any value out of it. But then also that's a turn where you spent 9 or 10 on sticking a vanilla to the board, so it's like it could be really, really gross. And you're talking before about like people talking about you're gonna discard every turn or whatever. Like you were saying, I don't think you're discarding early with this leader unless you're playing into a deck where that like for example red green law, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you go into a red green law and then you discard, like immediately, law just never gets shambles off. He just never does it. Like, so it is stuff like that. And also this leader, Nami, he does destroy Nami. I think your
Kaias just don't activate.
Yeah, I'm very much so looking forward to this leader. And no, we didn't. So don't we know that this set is supposed to also have like a buggy leader?
Yeah, it's the 4 current Yonkos.
I can't wait.
It'll be Shanks, Buggy, Luffy, and T.
We usually get what, like 6 leaders?
Yeah, we know what one of the other ones is with this purple limb. Supposedly the last leader is going to be a Robin of some kind.
Really?
Oh, Robin, that would be dope. Robin leader too. Sounds good.
Yeah. I do like that. Also, we're kind of shifting back to with the Sanji being revealed and now this Blackbeard, we are also kind of shifting back to mono leaders potentially having a place in the meta and stuff like that, because it's been very dual leader dominated for a very long time. We're finally starting to go back there in OP07 with, I guess, like Lucci and Bonnie and stuff like that. But the leader that's dominating the set is a dual leader in red purple law. So
yes. Another thing. Well, another thing that I wanted to bring up is, remember the people that are like, you're gonna discard every turn. Honestly, you really only need it like 2 to 3 turns in the late game to lock down the game. Yeah,
I completely agree.
Making them not drop their literal boss monsters for 2 to 3 turns, and then that boss monster sits in their hand with no counter, at some point they're gonna use their 0-drop events to pitch those boss monsters, because they're gonna have to.
It is interesting too, because it's like, talking about how this leader, like when you mentioned earlier, Nick, that you don't think like this leader does anything in the red purple law. But on the topic of red purple law, do we think he's even still a leader at this point?
I hope he gets banned, but I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like for him to run rampant for an entire extra set, despite his dominance, would be so fucking dumb, considering Bandai, the precedent they're setting with Sakazuki. Saka needs to come off the list, or Law needs to go on it. Something needs to happen there.
100%. Just ban Law. Be done with it. Like, okay, guys, learned your lesson.
Yeah, I think Law just needs to. I think that's a topic for another day, though. But any closing thoughts before we wrap this one up?
Solid leader. Can't wait to see the rest of them. Honestly,
same.
That's it.
Same. I'm very excited for this set. But okay. Well then, I guess with that being said, until next time. Oh, first time viewers, did you like the video? Did you? If you did, this is time to subscribe now, right? But until next time,
subscribe, give the video a like. It really helps the channel. Don't forget Small Hat Locals, potentially coming back here with a banned yellow local.
I don't know what it's gonna be. I don't think it's a banned yellow. I think it's a leader lock local, or maybe a trigger ban local. We'll have to see. But until next time, we will see you guys.
Bye.
Later.